On everybody, David here, and I am back. I'm back from Colombia. So I finally got back. I'm not happy to be back. I'm actually a little sad. I had a really good time, and I'll talk a little bit about my trip in a little bit. But the internet wasn't very good. So actually, the internet was good when I was in Barranquilla. So when I moved to Medellin, I stayed in Airbnb. So when I was in Barranquilla, I was in a hotel. When I was in the hotel, the internet was fine. I didn't have any issues with the internet. But when I got to Medellin, I stayed in an Airbnb, and the internet was not the best. I was going in and out when it came to the service, and I just couldn't. I didn't want to get into a live stream and then have it kick me out and then have to get back in and kick me out. That would have been really frustrating for me as well as the people, for you guys watching. So I didn't want to do that. And so I didn't. So I just chose not to do a live stream. If you guys come in, or when you guys come in, just let me know that you're here by saying hello. And if you are new to my chat, please let me know where you're coming from. So that's why I didn't do a live stream last Sunday. But I had a really good time, and I can fill you guys in on all the little things that transpired the whole time that I was there. There were some really, really good things happening. Met some really nice people, and I definitely will be going back. Actually, we're already planning. I say we. There's a little travel group that I belong to, and we're already planning another trip to Medellin this time. And there's a flower festival, so we're gonna all get set up and ready to go for that. And I haven't decided exactly where I'm gonna stay as far as hotel, but I already have everything planned. So as far as my airfare and all that, so I'm just gonna be looking for either a hotel or Airbnb. That's what we're talking about today in this live stream. We're gonna talk about Airbnb versus hotel, and I want to get your input. I want to see what you guys have experienced. And then I'll give you my experiences with the two. So we'll wait a few minutes, a couple minutes, just for everybody to get in, and then once everybody gets in, then we'll get started. If you guys can hear me and everything, just let me know that you can hear me. And if everything is okay, you can see the video and all that, then please let me know that as well, just so I know that everything is working properly. I had to hook everything back up because I pretty much took everything apart because I took it with me. And I was able to do one live stream when I was in Barranquilla, so that was okay. The internet wasn't the greatest in Barranquilla either, but I was at least able to get on and do a stream. The funny thing is I haven't even looked at that stream, so I don't know how the quality is. Maybe I should take a look at it just to see how good or bad the video quality is. Because when I'm doing the stream, I don't know what's going on. So I don't know if it's choppy or if there are issues going on. I won't know that until after the fact. So that's just kind of how that goes. Like I said, if you come in, just let me know you're here just by saying hello, and we will get started momentarily. And I have, let's see, just checking out a few things here. And the first thing that I'm going to start talking about is my experience. I'll just walk through kind of the whole Colombia experience this last trip, and it was a good one. This was the best trip that I've had to Colombia yet. So, and there are a lot of new things that were kind of going on at the time that really made it a good experience. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'll just start talking a little bit, and then we're going to start talking about the Airbnb stuff too, as well as hotels. So. For those of you who don't watch me regularly, I usually am on Sunday. So every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that's when I'll come on. I'll do a live stream. And I also do these bonus live streams just whenever possible, really. If I have some free time, I'll jump on. If I have at least 2 hours of free time, then I'll jump on and we'll just talk about some stuff. So that's what we're doing today. And also, I don't know, Saturday seems to be a good day for me as well, just because I usually have free time around this time, 7, 8 o'clock. I usually have free time. So it's good for me just to kind of jump on and talk about things at this time. So let's talk about Barranquilla. Let's talk about Colombia. My trip basically it was a last minute trip. I booked it about 3 weeks before Carnival, and my whole plan was to go to Carnival. That was the reason that I wanted to go to Colombia, and it was one of those deals where I didn't really plan beforehand. I kind of just decided, and then once I decided, then I just started booking all my stuff. I booked my hotel actually a little bit earlier, but then I had to change the hotel, so that's what happened there. Let me know if you guys are here, because I see there are people in here, but I don't see anyone saying anything, and that's usually indicator of the fact that they can't hear me or something going on. Easy, what's going on? Let's see, going to elsewhere in South America, David. No, I'm actually back in the U.S. right now. I will be going back soon, but I'll explain all that to you guys in a minute. Okay, so it looks like everybody is here and they can hear stuff. Chris, how you doing? Okay, so I booked my airfare about 3 weeks prior. I would highly recommend, if you are booking through United, let's say you have the Chase Ultimate Reward points and you want to transfer your points over, or if you have a United card, make sure you do it prior. Do it 3 weeks. Or how can I say this? Don't wait until there's only 3 weeks before your flight, basically, because then you have to pay an additional fee, and I had to pay like $75 additional just because I waited. Now, if you can book it prior to that, then that's your ideal situation, because you'll have to pay that extra $75, and it's really not worth it when it comes down to it. So I booked my airfare. All that costs, my airfare, the whole trip costs, airfare wise. I don't know why I'm not talking right tonight. I got to get back into the swing of things. Like, live streams you're on the spot, so you kind of have to, be able to, whatever. Let's just get into it. So, I booked my airfare, and it cost $290. Okay, so that was for all of my airfare plus 70,000 points is what I spent. I was flying first class or business class, business class the whole trip, and so. The airfare was great, and I do have 2 reviews that I will be doing. Actually, tomorrow, I'm going to do like a review where I edit the review and all that, and I'll put that on my channel. But tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about Avianca compared to Copa Airlines. And Avianca is kind of the Colombia airline, okay? And then you have Copa Airlines, which is, I believe it's a Panamanian, I think it's from Panama airline. And so both good airlines, but I want to compare the business class. And I thought I wasn't going to be able to do that. And I'm actually glad I didn't realize when I booked all my airfare, because you're booking, like I'm booking through United and I'm flying on whatever United is allowing me to fly on. So because they're All-Star Alliance, Avianca, United, and Copa, they're All-Star Alliance partners, then you can fly on either of those carriers. So when I booked my airfare, I didn't really look at, okay, I'm going to fly Copa and I want to fly Copa, or I don't want to fly Avianca. I didn't really look at that. I just booked it. So my flight up was all Copa. My flight back was all Avianca. So I have a real good comparison as far as the quality of service, customer service, food, comfort of the seats, just all that good stuff. So I'll have that. We're going to talk about it tomorrow in the live stream. And then I'm going to do like a full-on review where I have video, and I'll be able to show you guys the food and all that good stuff. I'll probably have some pictures of the food that I can show you guys as well. So we'll do that. All right. So got to Barranquilla on Saturday morning, and I actually made a mistake. So I was going for Carnaval. The first day of Carnaval was that Saturday. Okay. So I flew in on the first day, which that's mistake number 1. And the reason I say it's mistake number 1 is because you want to get there at least a day early, and probably 2 days early in this situation, because they actually had some stuff going on the 1st. So they had some stuff going on that Friday night. I think Mark Anthony was singing. They had a big concert for him. And so it would have been even better if I took an extra day, came in an extra day early. Because what happened is I got there on Saturday, and once I got there, from the airport to my hotel, by the time I got into my hotel, it was about 2:30. And what I didn't know is the parade stopped at 5:30. So I did all this traveling, and I missed the first parade. And the first parade is the largest parade. So if you're ever planning to go to Carnaval in Barranquilla in Colombia, make sure you go a day early, because you want to be able to get to that first parade, because that's the largest parade that they'll have throughout the whole event. That was a mistake that I made. So next year, I will be going next year, by the way. I had that much fun. I'm going back next year. So I will go at least one day, maybe 2 days early. That way I can get settled and get out and do everything. So my first day, I didn't do much. My first day, and I have a video on, if you guys want to check out my channel and just go back, I have a video of kind of my first day coming from the airport to the hotel. I show you guys a review of the hotel. The Ibis hotels were where I stayed. Pretty good hotel. I was pleasantly surprised. I'm very skeptical when it comes to the smaller brand name hotels that are just within the countries that you go to. I'm always very skeptical because I don't really know what to expect. And in this case, it was a good hotel, and you had some English speakers too. That was another thing that I'm always concerned about. I know if I stay at a Hyatt or Hilton or Marriott, if I'm staying in those properties or staying at those properties, usually you're going to have people that speak English there. I don't even know. It might even be a requirement for them to have at least someone on staff that speaks English at any given time. So that was a concern of mine too, going to Ibis. I have stayed at the Colombia has another, what's the name of that hotel brand? Estelar, something like that. They have another brand. I stayed there a while ago, and no English speakers there. So I was pleasantly surprised. Ibis did have some English speakers, so that was good. So checked in the hotel. Like I said, I did a review, so you guys can check that hotel out and see. The only thing that I didn't like about the hotel, and I don't even think I mentioned it in the review, but the view was horrible. It was actually the side of a building, and that building happened to be a hospital. So that was my view. I couldn't see anything else. Initially I asked for a higher floor, and which would probably have given me a nice view of the city. But when I checked in, they didn't have that floor available. They said that, I don't know, I was a little confused on, I don't know if maybe there's a language barrier or something, but they said that it could be ready later, but they weren't sure. So I didn't want to have to just sit. Like I said, it was around 2:30. I wanted to get in, and I was still planning on going to the parade at that time until I found out that the parade stopped at 5:30. So that didn't happen. So I just stayed on the 5th floor instead of going to the higher floor. So that was that. I tried to go and do something that night, but it just didn't work out. I went out they had a block party going on. And the whole time there's a travel group that I was planning to meet up with on that same night. And we weren't able to hook up only because they went to the block party a little earlier. I went to the block party around 10 o'clock, and they had already stopped letting people in. So I wasn't able to get in, which that was irritating because it's a block party. It's outside, right? You see the people in there having a good time, and you can't get in there. So the first night was pretty much just a bust. And I mean, I almost say it's a bust. I got stuff done. I went to the grocery store, got some stuff like that. But as far as going out and enjoying the festivities on the first day, I wasn't able to do that. So fast forward to the next day, I got up early, went out to the parade route, got on got out there and was able to see the parade. So the first Carnival that I ever experienced. And it was a really good time. I mean, it was one of those deals where, and by the way, too, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, now's the time to put them in the chat. And I'm going to stop in a little bit, and then we'll talk about some of the questions that you guys have posed. So any questions about Carnival, any questions about Colombia, where I stay, or I already told you where I stayed, but how was it where I stayed? Airbnb versus hotel, all that good stuff. If you have any questions, just post it in the chat, and then we'll get to some of those questions. And I mean, If you guys have watched my channel, you know that I go to Colombia a lot, and I really like going to Colombia a lot. So if you have any questions about Colombia, this is a good time to ask those questions. You can also ask me questions about just the points and stuff, what points I use to get my airfare, all that good stuff. So questions, post them in the chat right now, and we'll get to them in a minute. So yeah, so second day was great. I was able to get out, take pictures, and my main goal is to try to take some really good pictures. And I was really happy with the first day. I was happy with my pictures. The second day I was really happy with them. The first day that I had some challenges because it was at like 12, 1, 2 in the afternoon, and if you are a photographer, you know that that's the worst time to take pictures because you have the sun directly above the subjects, and when you're taking pictures, they get the raccoon eyes and all that good stuff because the sun is coming straight from the top. So the ideal scenario is to take pictures at sunrise or at sunset because that's when you have the even light, and you can even shoot people in shade if you have that opportunity. You can shoot people in shade at any time of day, but in this case, I couldn't control where the people were. They're walking down the parade route, and that's all I had. So there were some challenges because it even got to a point where you have the bleachers. One thing I didn't mention, I paid to get in. You can just stand along the parade route if you want to, but you're not going to be guaranteed a good spot. And I wanted to be right up on the rail, so I paid for a seat. And paying for a seat, it cost me 30,000 pesos, which is about $9. So $9 for a seat, which I never use a seat. I paid for it, I went inside, and then I just stood up along the rail on the bleachers. I didn't, because that would have been my best place to take pictures anyway. I didn't want to be up in the stands, sitting down with people in front of me and trying to shoot through them. So I just stood up on the rail. And like I said, it was great, but the only problem is the sun was just really, really harsh. There's no cloud cover or anything like that, so a lot of my shots were really, really harsh light, and you don't want that, especially if you're trying to take pictures of women. You don't want the harsh sun, and that's what we were getting a lot of. So later on in the day, I stayed there the whole time. So later on in the day, I was actually able to get. The sun started setting, and it hadn't set yet, but it was coming behind the bleachers. So now I have the sun behind the bleachers, so now I have shade. So half of the parade route, there was shade, and the other half, there was sun. So I was able to just take pictures mainly of the people that were in the shade, and those were coming out a lot better. And I was using flash the whole time. So if you don't know, like a lot of people think, oh, well, it's daylight, why do you need flash? I was using flash the whole time. Because if it is daylight and you're using flash, if you have a strong enough flash, you can bounce some fill light. So if they have the raccoon eyes, you can bounce fill light into those raccoon eyes and make those shadows not completely go away, but you can lighten up the shadows a little bit. So I was doing a lot of that. So bouncing the flash, that fill light. So that was day number 1. It was great. And then after that, we went to the block party, and I met up with the guys from travel group, and we just had a really good time. Now, I haven't done these. I have a bunch of videos that I need to edit right now. I want to say it's at least 20 videos that I need to edit. So I've already shot everything. I just need to put them all together. And these block parties. So the first day I went to the block party, it was they wouldn't let us in. Or wouldn't let me in. The second day I was able to get in, and it was really, really nice. So I mean, we're talking, it was probably about 6 blocks long, the whole thing. And let me open up the so you guys can see it. So we'll see the chat too. So it was about 6 blocks long, and you just had people just having a good time just partying, and you had different sections with music, different types of music, and then at the very, very end, that's where you had the concert going on. So if you wanted to go way up to the concert, you could do that. A lot of people were there where the concert was, so it was really hard to walk around in that area. So I went up pretty close, but I didn't get too close just because I didn't want to be in with all those people. One of the guys from the travel group, he actually had his phone stolen. And these things happen. So Don't think, oh, it's Colombia. I knew it was going to happen. It was Colombia. No, it has nothing to do with that. Any large crowds, I don't care if you're in the U.S., concerts, anywhere. If you're walking close to people and you are a target, let's just put it that way, to be victimized. And unfortunately, he was victimized, walked through a crowd, and they were able to take his phone. So those things happen. It really sucks when you're in a different country, because the second day that he was there, he gets his phone stolen. And we all know how we use our phones for a lot of different things. I use it for navigation when I'm traveling, for Uber, for all these different things. And now I've lost my phone. What do I do? Like, there's going to be some things that I'm really going to have to figure out. I mean, people travel before cell phones. I get it. But traveling with a cell phone is a lot easier now, because there's a lot of different things. I have all my information, my airline information, all that stuff is going to be on my phone. And if you don't have it, then yeah, you're you're going to be running into some problems. So unfortunately, that happened to him. So let me speed this whole process, this whole thing up. So the first 4 days I was at Carnaval, and it was an amazing time. The next 5 days I went to Medellin. So I went to Medellin, Colombia. I stayed in the Laureles area. This is the first time I stayed in Laureles. Usually I stay in this is the second time I've been to Medellin. So the first time that I was in Medellin, I stayed in El Poblado. The El Poblado area is more of a tourist area. So if this is your first time in Medellin, you're probably going to want to stay in El Poblado, because that's more tourist friendly. And you want to be in a tourist area, because you want to be able to get the excursions, go to the nightclubs and all that, if you're in the nightclubs and stuff like that. And you can get a really good experience if you stay in El Poblado the first time. Now, after staying in El Poblado the first time, I was ready to move on, only because I wanted to see what else was out there. And so that's why I decided to stay in Laureles. Now, Laureles, I stayed in a popular area in Laureles. So I stayed in La Setenta area, which is right near a university. And there are a lot of bars and clubs and restaurants all in all on this street, all on this La Setenta, the whole street. That's where I won't say all, but a lot of the nightlife was. So I did that, and that was a really good experience. Now that's when I stayed in the Airbnb. So I stayed in the Airbnb there. The Airbnb was pretty good, with the exception of the internet. The internet was not very good. And this Airbnb that I stayed in, which I had done a little bit of research, so I did find out this prior to booking it, but this Airbnb was in the middle of everything. And when I say the middle of everything, the clubs, the bars, all that, loud music playing until on Saturday, it was like 3:30 in the morning. The rest of the time, it would be till about 2 in the morning, and then they shut it down. But so you need to really, you need to be the type of person that's going to be planning to stay up that late every night, because if you're not, then you're not going to be able to get any sleep. So that was kind of that routine. I was okay with it. I knew it going in, so it was fine. I was fine with it, and so that's why I went ahead and booked it. But just be prepared in the situation. I stayed at the San Peter Apartments. And yeah, that's the way it is. Now, I did talk to some other people in the apartments, and this is a good apartment. If you're American coming in and you don't speak Spanish, or you speak very little Spanish, this is probably a good Airbnb, or I shouldn't say, a good apartment complex to stay in, because there are a variety of different people that own all these different apartments, and a lot of them do rent it out for Airbnbs, or as Airbnbs. So I can't specifically say, yes, if you stay at this place, you're going to have a good experience as far as the Airbnb, because they're all separate owners. They're not the same. But I will tell you, the location was excellent. I was able to walk right downstairs, and I was in the middle of everything. I mean, just walk out, and when I say 30 seconds from my front door, 30 seconds, I'm on La Setenta, because it's right off La Setenta. When I say La Setenta, it's Calle 70. So I'm right there on Calle 70, and I can just walk down, and there's clubs and bars, and there was even 2 restaurants inside of the apartment complex. So that was good too. But this is a perfect place because you have a lot of Americans that live there, or that either live there or are staying there on Airbnbs. So just that it's a good spot because they even cater to Americans. You go downstairs and they usually, in Colombia, they don't have like a traditional American breakfast. Okay, so breakfast in Colombia is a lot different than breakfast in the U.S. You know, we sit down and we have the sausage and the eggs and pancakes or bread or toast, whatever. They generally don't eat like that for breakfast. They're usually eating a lighter breakfast, and some of their breakfast consists of beans, and they will have eggs, but usually they'll have beans too, and arepas and stuff like that. So they don't have like a traditional. Usually don't. If you go to a Colombian restaurant, you're probably not going to find a traditional American breakfast. But at this apartment complex at the bottom, they had 2 restaurants. Both of them were like American restaurants, really, like they were catering to the Americans. So I was able to go down and get American food, American breakfast for the most part. It was okay. It wasn't like, yeah, it was okay. I don't know what they do. The sausage is not what they consider sausage is not what we consider sausage. It's different. So their sausage is more like just what we would call like hot dogs. That's pretty much the extent of their sausage is like hot dogs, and I've seen that a few different places, which is kind of weird. But yeah, that's the way. I still have yet to eat like a traditional like sausage for breakfast while I was in Colombia. So anyway. So going from that, I stayed there 5 days, and I had an amazing time. So just so you guys know kind of how this travel group thing is, how it works, not even how it works. Basically, there were a couple YouTubers, actually one YouTuber that said, hey, I'm going to start this WhatsApp travel advisory group. And this guy, his name is Ace. He's from This Is Ace Live. So you can check out his channel. He's got a lot of stuff, especially on Colombia. And so that's kind of how we linked up to begin with. And then he started this WhatsApp group. And so when he started the group, then you have a few people jump in, and before you know it, there was about 30 people in the group. And they all started, because I wasn't even thinking about going to Colombia. I wasn't thinking about Carnaval at the time, but they started talking about Carnaval, and I started thinking, you know what? I'm not doing anything in March. Why don't I go to Carnaval? And so that's how that all kind of sparked. And then from there, then you have a lot of other people that are talking about, yeah, I want to go to Carnaval. I want to do this. I want to do that. Or I want to go to Colombia for this or Colombia for that. And then it kind of spun off into a variety of different people and saying, oh, I'm moving to Colombia in a couple weeks, and I want to go to Colombia. So basically all these different people with the same common interest of Colombia. So once I went to Carnaval and spent 4 days there, then you find out, oh, there's some other people that are going to be in Colombia, and they're going to be going to Medellin. So I met up with a couple other guys in Medellin when I was there. And so we hung out, and it was a great time. And I'm even at this point, I'm thinking I'm going to start looking at some different things, but just having a travel group as well on WhatsApp. And the thing that's great about it is there are a variety of different things that are great about it. And I'm going to sell this to you right now. So if you guys are interested, please let me know, and I'm going to start trying to work some stuff out. But basically, if you guys don't have WhatsApp or you don't know how WhatsApp works, it's just like it's just a messenger. That's all it is. It's a messenger that's on your phone. It's just like if you're doing text messages, it's the same thing. So it's like a big group text message. But the beauty of it is it's pretty instant. Okay, so if you have a question about travel reward credit cards or travel in general, about going to different locations, all that stuff, then just post it in the WhatsApp group, and then either I can answer it or other people that are there can answer it. The other thing that I like about it is the fact that when you are traveling to these different places, then you can meet up with people through WhatsApp. Just saying, oh yeah, I'm here, I'm there, and then you guys can meet up. You could take pictures, video, all that stuff, share that with people. You can share your experiences of where you stayed. So like I was saying, I stayed at this San Peter hotel, or not hotel, apartment. I can share that experience with you guys and say, yeah, you know, that was a good place to stay. So there are a lot of different people coming in with their different experiences, and you're able to kind of share that. And it's more of on a personal level, because it's pretty instant, and it's not like Facebook or Instagram where there's that, I don't know, there's a disconnect when it comes to those things. Like this live chat, this is personal to me. It feels more personal because we're there. You have a question, we can answer it right now, as opposed to like Facebook where it's a little more drawn out, if you know what I mean. So I like the WhatsApp thing, and you don't have to say anything. There are a lot of people that are in this travel group that we have now that don't really talk, but they take in all the information that's coming in, and you don't have to just talk about travel. You can talk about credit cards, you can talk about food, you can talk about a variety of different things, but it's more of a personal feel. And then there are other people that have YouTube channels and stuff like that, and you can promote your channel and stuff like that on like a travel group or a WhatsApp group. So I am strongly considering doing that, just so I can communicate with you guys a little more during times, so I'm not just on live stream. I can't do a live stream all the time, but I can have a WhatsApp group and people can chime in and put their input in at any time. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about too. Okay. So, yeah, like I said, if you have questions, guys, please put them in the chat, and then we'll start getting into the questions momentarily. So, yeah, I had a really good time. Colombia is always, it never disappoints, and this is my 4th trip to Colombia, and every time I go, I just want to stay longer and longer and longer. Unfortunately, I have a job here, so I'm not able to do that at the present time. But yeah, it was a really good time, and I didn't do much. I didn't do any real, like, when I was in Medellin, I didn't do anything as far as like an excursion or anything like that. I wanted to kind of I don't want to say lay low, but I wanted to kind of experience just the more of in Medellin, because I was in Medellin, so experience more of how people live, like how the locals live. I wasn't too interested in going to Guatapé. I've been to Guatapé before. I didn't want to do all the other little excursions and stuff they have going on. So I just wanted to kind of just do what normal Colombians do in Medellin. So that's pretty much what I did. Then I did a lot of video editing and shooting different videos and stuff like that, and some food review videos. I'm doing some food review videos, which is funny because it's like the first time I've ever done food review videos, but I have a few of those coming out too, so you guys can see that. The good thing about if you've never been to Colombia and you go for the first time, the first thing that you're going to notice is how cheap everything is compared to the US dollars. So if you're bringing US dollars in, you can sit down, and I sat down and I did a food review on this. I went to a fish restaurant, and we all know, like in the US, fish is you go to a fish restaurant, you're going to be paying a lot of money, because it's pretty expensive to get. I don't know if it's expensive to get, I guess it depends on where you live, but usually a fish restaurant is more on the higher end. You have like steak, and then you have fish. So when I went to this fish restaurant, I paid $9 for my meal, and we're talking, this was top of the line, like really good food. And I went there twice, and the food was just excellent. And this is one of those places where you go and they bring out the whole fish. So the fish was like this big. And when I say the whole fish, I mean the head and everything. So it was about this big, and they like deep fried it, or I don't know exactly how they prepared it, but it was really good. And then the second day I went back, and I did a review, and I tried a different dish, and that dish was really good too. It was like the fish was filleted, and it was like breaded, but then they put like this cheese over the top. You guys will see the video. It was good. It was good. That's pretty much it. I just wanted to kind of give you the recap up to now. So basically, I couldn't do any live streams because of my internet when I was in Medellin. It just wasn't good. I didn't want to go in and out. That was my whole my whole issue was I didn't want to be in a situation where I get online, I'm talking to you guys, and boop, I go away. And then I get back on and go. I didn't want that to happen. It was already happening with my internet, just normal. Like I'd get on the internet for 5 minutes and then it'd go out. And then I'd be on for another 5 minutes and then it'd go out. So I didn't want to have a live stream going like that. All right, let's go ahead and check out the chat here, see who's in the room. So Easy, what's going on? Chris, how you doing? Frank, what's up? Hi, David. Which was your go-to credit card out there? Okay, so Frank is asking my go-to credit card. What did I use when I was out there? And I was using the Chase Sapphire Reserve the whole time I was there. That's the card that I used. And mainly because it's going to get you 3 times back at restaurants and at hotels. But I had already booked my hotel. So when I was there, just using my card, that's the card that I used. Let's see. Okay, Michael, what's going on? Hey, David, which city do you recommend visiting first if you've never been to Colombia, Medellin, Cartagena, or Barranquilla? Okay. I'll tell you my favorite city, okay? My favorite city is Medellin, but you have to understand Medellin is not coastal, so if you want to go to the beach, you're going to have to fly somewhere else. You're going to have to fly to Cartagena first or fly to Barranquilla first. Or fly second, however you want to do it. The reason that I like Medellin, there are a few different reasons. The first thing is the people. The people in Medellin are just, people in Colombia in general are just amazing. They're amazing people in the sense that they're very nice to Americans, and you can't say that in all countries. So they're very nice to Americans, and they're very patient, and they will help you. Like they will go out of their way to help you. And I have a video that will be coming out that's going to kind of talk a little bit more about this. But it almost makes you in certain situations a little uncomfortable because you're thinking, okay, what are they trying to get out of me? And it's sad to think that way, but in the U.S., the way I feel is if someone's really going out of their way, they want something. They're trying to get something from me, whether it be a tip or what have you. Tips are not a big thing in Colombia, so that's not what they're trying to get out of you. Like they're not trying to get something out of you. They're just generally nice. I'll give you an example. When I got to Barranquilla, I'm walking through the airport and there's construction going on, so all the signs aren't there, and it's just, we were literally it was like we were in a hangar. And so I'm walking through and I'm trying to find the taxis, and it's not like the traditional airport where as soon as you get your bags, you walk out the door and that's where all the taxis are. No, you had to walk a little ways to get to your taxi. And so I'm walking along and I get to a point and I stop and I pull up my phone just to see exactly where I was because I wanted to kind of figure out, okay, I don't know if I'm walking in the right direction. So I'm just standing there. And a guy's walking by, and I asked him, and I have two rollers. So I have one roller that's a carry-on roller, and that has all my camera equipment in it. Then I have another roller that's my suitcase with all my clothes and stuff in it. And so I stop, looking at my phone. A gentleman walks by me, and so I asked him, "Where's the taxi? ¿Dónde está?" Or done whatever. Where's the taxis? And so he points to the same direction that I was walking in. And so I was like, oh, okay. And so he stopped, actually, because I'm talking to him as he's walking. So he stops, and then he's asking me in Spanish, do you want me to take your bag? Like, because he sees I have two bags, which is, 2 rollers are easy. You have one in front, one in the back, you can roll. It's not a big deal. But he's asking me if he could take one of my bags, help me out to get to the taxis. And I'm like, no, I'm okay. And this is one of those things, you probably would never have that experience in the U.S. Maybe if you're in a small town, small airport, but very rarely will you ever have that. And this is just a guy walking by. He doesn't work for the airport, he's just there, right, at the airport. And so things like that. Or there was a situation where I was trying to get to this block party when I was in Barranquilla, and I started talking to this girl, and I asked her, "Hey, is this the right way to go?" Because we were doing like there was the main entrance, and then there was an entrance around the back that no one knew about. And so some of my buddies from the travel group told me, "Hey, go around the back, and you could probably get in, and there won't be a line." And so that's what I was looking for, but I didn't know exactly how to get there. So I was kind of following a group, and she was in that group. And so when I got close enough to her, I just wanted to ask her, "Hey, are you going to the carnival or to the block party? Because if you are, then I'll follow you." And so she was like, "Yeah, I'm going to the block party." And so the whole thing is like she walked me over to where the place was, but she knew I didn't speak English. Like spoke very. She knew I didn't speak English or speak English. She knew I didn't speak that much Spanish because I was talking with her, so she knew. So she basically kind of took me under her arm to get me into this place. Kind of, wait, hold on, let me go talk to the police, because we got to a point where there was like this yellow tape, and so she went and talked to the police officer, and she was like, "No, hold on, let me talk to him," and then walked me in there to told me how much it was to pay for my ticket, or told me how much it was for the ticket. I paid for my ticket. She already had a ticket. And so then we went to the next little gate, and then there's two entrances, like one entrance where you could just walk in, the other entrance where you had to kind of walk through the gate. And so she's telling me, "No, you know what, go through this entrance, that way you can get your 2 beers, because you get 2 beers if you pay for a ticket to get in." And so I went ahead and went through there, got my beer. And then after I was all the way through, I'm inside, then she came back to me, because she was already ahead of me because she was able to go right through. She came back to me and was like, "Hey, okay, have a good time," and all that. And I'm thinking, okay, this is really nice that this girl's like walking me through this whole thing, where most people just tell you, "Yeah, you know what, it's that way," and point. And yeah, so enough about that. But yeah, Medellin, yes. Medellin would be my first pick. But if you do want something near water, if you want to go to like some of the white sand beaches and things like that, then Cartagena would probably be second. If I were going to a trip to Colombia, I probably wouldn't just stay in one city the whole time. I would probably go to at least 2 cities. And the 2 cities that I would go to would be Medellin and Cartagena. And that's even like now. Like I've been to both of them, and just traveling back, yes, I'd go to Medellin. I'd definitely spend time in Medellin. And I'd also want to spend time in Cartagena. Cartagena has a lot of history, and it's a great place to photograph because you have all these old fortresses and things like that. So it's a real good place. Plus, you can take the boats out to the white sand beaches. The beaches in Cartagena are not that nice, okay? But once and this is kind of like same thing when I went to Thailand. Thailand was very similar. You didn't have like really, really nice beaches that were like in Phuket. Like I went to Phuket, so I went to God, I can't remember the name of the beach. Patong Beach. I went to Patong Beach. It's not that nice. I mean, there are a lot of people there. It was okay. The beach was okay. But when you take the excursions, they take you out to the islands. That's where the beaches are really nice. It's the same thing with Cartagena. If you go out into the islands, that's where you're going to have some real nice beaches. But right on the coast in Cartagena, they're not the nicest. But like I said, there's so much there in Cartagena to experience. Those are 2 places I would go. Now, Barranquilla, I had a really good time there. It's a great place to go for Carnaval, I would think. Other than Carnaval, I don't know how much really goes on there. I would say out of the three cities, Barranquilla is probably the least developed. They're building a lot, and you see they have these big high rises that they're building, these high rise condos and things like that. But right now they're still, they're not as developed. Like Medellin is just like living in the U.S. They have all the amenities that the U.S. has. Cartagena, they're getting there. They have the Boca Grande area where you have these high-rise hotels and things like that. So they're getting there. But when it comes to Barranquilla, there's still a lot of poverty, and you can see a lot of the poverty there. And I'm not saying the other cities don't have poverty. All cities have poverty in the U.S. I don't care what city you're in, you're going to have some impoverished areas. But when it comes to just kind of ranking the 3, it would be Medellin, then Cartagena, and then Barranquilla. So I will go back to Barranquilla, but only for Carnival. And I'll probably, when I'll get there a little bit early, so I'll be able to kind of see how it is in at a normal time, and then see how it is when Carnival is there. Okay, I know, Michael, it took me a long time to get to that answer, but yes, Medellin, Cartagena, and then Barranquilla. So pretty much how you have it listed is how I would do it. Okay, Knight, how you doing? Hola, or aloha. Let's see, how big is Apple Android Pay? And let's see, contactless in Colombia. I don't know what you're asking. How big is Apple Android Pay? Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. I don't know. I never used it. I don't know. That's a really good question now that I'm thinking about it. I never used, like, using the Android Pay or the Apple Pay or the, like, what do they call it when, like, you can touch it to the screen and or touch it to the device, to the reader thing, and it will accept it. I don't know. I didn't try it at all. I do know that I don't know how their technology is when it comes to that, because they have their system is a little different than it is in the U.S. So be prepared for this, because I got yelled at. I didn't get yelled at, but the girl was very. You could tell she was upset with me because I didn't know the answer to this question. And this is at Éxito, and it's always at Éxito. It happens at other places too, but at Éxito, this has happened to me twice. I should have remembered, but this is not something that we normally do in the U.S. So when you have the fancy travel cards, what do they do with these fancy travel cards? They put all the information on the bottom of the card instead of like on the top, like the traditional where you have the numbers on the top. They put them on the bottom, right? Because it's fancy. It's a nice card. It's metal, whatever. So when I went to Éxito and I purchased some things, I used my Chase Sapphire Reserve to make the payment. So go ahead and slid it in the machine. Actually, I gave it to her and she put it in the machine. And so it will ask them a question. It will ask them what are the last 4 digits of the credit card. And so they expect you to know that. And when they ask you, you give that to them. They just type it in there, and then it'll process everything. But if you don't know it, well, then now they have to pull it out. They have to cancel the order, pull it out, find out what the number is, and put it back in there. And then, so like I said, this happened to me twice. Not on this trip. It happened to me once on this trip, and then it happened to me before. So last year when I went. So yeah, she was pretty upset with me because of that, because I didn't know the numbers, the last 4 digits. So they will ask you that. So be prepared for that when it comes to your credit card transactions. Then also be prepared, because if you're at a restaurant, and this is not just Colombia, this is other countries too. Let's see, we got a super chat. Thank you very much. Chillin', HD Chillin'. I appreciate that. Appreciate it a lot. We'll get to your question really quickly. So when it comes to the transactions, all transactions are done in front of you. And I love this. Like the US, we should be doing the same thing. So if it's a credit card transaction, it's done in front of you. It's never done like, let's say you go to a restaurant in the US, they bring out the little envelope thing and you put your card in the envelope, and then they walk it off to the cash register, and then they do all this stuff, and then they bring it back to you, and you have the receipts where you sign all that. Everything in Colombia is done right in front of you. So if you come out there and you come out there, after you finish with your meal, you ask for the check, they will bring the check to you, and at that point they're going to ask you, you're going to pay cash or you're going to pay card. If you tell them you're going to pay card, then they'll do one of two things. They'll say, okay, come with me, and then you'll go over to the machine or go over to the cashier with them. Or in a lot of places they have this remote, like a swipe card, or card reader, but it's remote, and they can just bring it to your table and just put the card in right in front of you, do the whole transaction, and it will print out the receipt, and then you sign the receipt, and then they're on their way. So they do that everywhere. And like I said, this is something that we should be doing in the U.S. because there are a lot of people that there's fraudulent activity that goes on, and the way that it happens is in a lot of situations you have, let's say you have a waitress or a waiter that's in on the deal, or in on the crime, I guess you could say, and they have a skimmer, and a skimmer basically, so you have the regular card reader, right? And then you have another skimmer. That skimmer gets all that information. So all they need to do is swipe it through the skimmer first. It takes all the information off your card and it stores it, and then they do the transaction through the the restaurant computer, all that, and then later on down the road they sell that information to someone, and that person gets that information. They make a dummy card, and then they go out and they go on a spending spree. So that does happen. So the fact that they do this right in front of you, that card never leaves your sight. That's ideal. That's the way you want it. And I was always taught that, and this is the way I do it in the U.S., if that card ever leaves my sight, I'm always using my credit card. And I always use my credit card anyway now, but there was a time where I used my debit card for a lot of transactions. But if I'm sitting at a restaurant, I'm not using my debit card. If they close that, if they give you that little envelope and they close it up and they walk away, always use your credit card, because your debit card is tied to your bank account. And I've had money taken out of my bank account before because someone got my information. So always use your credit card. It's not tied to your bank account. It's easy for them to reverse that when it comes to your credit card. It's a little bit harder to reverse it when it comes to your debit card. Once they take the money out, they have to put everything on, put everything on hold and do their little investigation. And you could have bills that are that need to be paid, or bills that are pending payment when they do this, and then you start bouncing checks and things like that. So, all right, let's see. Are you going to visit other cities like? Yes, I do want, and this is HD Chillin is asking, do I want to visit? Am I planning to visit other cities like Peoria? I can't even say that name, but yes, I do want to go to that place. There's 3 different places that I need to look into, but definitely there are other places in Colombia that I want to visit, and I will be visiting. And so what I think I'm going to probably do is I'll go for, like, Medellin I'll go to Medellin, and then I'll spend a couple of days in Choco. I want to go there. Santa Marta, I want to go there. So there's some different areas that I want to go, but I don't know if I want to spend my whole trip there. I just want to kind of get a taste of these different areas. This Parade, I can't say the name, but that one place I did hear about, and they say that's like the new Medellin, or the, not the new Medellin, but let me turn this off. It's the, what do they call it? The up-and-coming Medellin, I guess you could say, like what Medellin was a few years ago. So yeah, I definitely want to visit some new places. That's definitely going to be on my list. Okay, let's see. Let's move up, back down here. Okay, Melvin, how you doing? So it looks like Melvin says he's going to Cali in May. That's cool. You should have a good time. I have not been to Cali yet. That's another place that's going to be on my list. There's a friend of mine, or a guy that's in our travel group, that recently went to, where did he go? He did go to Cali. Okay, so he went to Cali. He's actually living there. So he loves it that much. So he's American, just traveled, been going to Cali for years now. And now he's decided to move out there, and yeah, that's his new home. So let's see, just wondering, what do you think about Amex Flex Pay for the charge cards? Now, I've heard of Flex Pay, and like American Express cards they're generally charge cards, so they're not like a credit card, like a traditional credit card. So because they're a charge card, every month you have to pay everything up, and so they do have this Flex Pay, but I don't have American Express cards. So if there's anyone else in the chat, if you guys have experience with that, please chime in and help RP when it comes to that. Yeah, I haven't jumped into American Express yet. I have all Chase cards right now. The vast majority of my cards are Chase cards. I just like the Chase ecosystem. I'm looking at getting the American Express Platinum card in the future, because they have the Centurion lounges that will be opened up in LAX. So as soon as that happens, I'll probably be looking into getting one of those cards. There is one thing I want to talk about too that I didn't talk about. I don't know if I talked about it in the last live stream when I was out in Colombia, but the Star Alliance Lounge at LAX, very good, very good. I flew, and just so you know, if you fly business class or first class, you get lounge access, okay? I have priority pass lounge access already, but priority pass lounges, it's hit and miss. Some of them are okay, some of them are not. Let's just put it out there, right? But when it comes to the like flying business class or first class, you get to go into some of the nicer lounges. And at LAX, the Star Alliance lounge is really, really nice. So I've stayed in London. I went to their first class lounge, and that was excellent. That was 10 out of 10 as far as I'm concerned. This one was more of like an 8 out of 10. So it was very good, still very good, but just not at that level. But they had everything. I mean, you had the bar, like a nice bar setup. You had a lot of area to sit. You had, I believe there were showers and all that stuff in there. I was only able to stay in there about 20 minutes because I didn't have that much time before my flight. But they had a nice little spread of food out there, more finger food stuff, but you could still fill up if you really needed to. The problem with some of these lounges you go into, like the priority pass lounges, and they have little finger foods and stuff like that, but it's not, usually it's just like snacks and things like that. When I say snacks, I mean like stuff that's already processed, like it's stuff in a bag, chips, cookies that are in a bag, candy, and not really stuff that you could, like finger foods where you can fill up on, but more just like snacks that you can eat. You could fill up on it if you want, but you're just going to be eating a bunch of sugar. So the fact that they did have like finger foods and stuff that you could fill up on was good. And then it was nice. It was a nice experience. And you're like I want to say you're on like the 6th floor of this is the international terminal. So you're on the 6th floor and you can look down and see kind of the mall area where they have the shopping and all that stuff down below. So you had a nice view and everything. It was nice. It was very, very well put together lounge. Okay, just wondering, what do you do to think about it? Okay, so we looked at that one. Let's see. Welcome back, Mr. Clark. Thank you, Pry. I appreciate it. They do a lot in Europe too. Okay, let's see. So, traveling around Colombia is pretty safe. Okay, so Pry is asking me about the safety in Colombia. Is it pretty safe? Yeah, it's safe. It is. It's not. It's so funny. I was this way the first time that I went to Colombia, and Colombia was the first trip that I ever took outside of the country, and I did this. The first time I went to Colombia was 10 years ago, and I was nervous about that, and it wasn't just about Colombia. It was just period about just leaving the country, going into another country, and not feeling safe. And I had the time of my life the first time that I went. And so after that, I just kept going back, and I started going to some of these other countries as well. And I feel safer in Colombia than I do going to a lot of these other countries. Going to like Paris, I didn't feel very safe in Paris. And you know, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in Paris anyway, just terrorist attacks and things like that. But there was a very weird feeling when I was in Paris. And you have a lot of military, a lot of police. In Colombia, you have a lot of police as well, but the police are a little more laid back. They're not like when you go to Paris, and I don't know if you guys have been in Paris lately, and this was 2 years ago when I went, but you literally have like military on the street with their assault rifles walking around in fours, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and it's just like it's kind of an eye opener. We don't even have that in the U.S. Like you will literally have them walking. Like I went to a small city, or not even a small city. I was in Paris, but I went to a small little area, like older. I can't remember the name of the small little area, but we're talking small town. Nothing. I mean, it's like all locals for the most part. They have this popular church, and that church is like everyone wants to go to see the church, and that's why I wanted to go and take pictures of the church. And in that area, you have military, and the military is walking around. So you feel a little, I don't know, like on edge, and they're everywhere. Military is everywhere in Paris. So there are a lot of different places that I've gone where I didn't feel as safe as I do in Colombia. And you go to Colombia, the police officers are really very friendly, to be honest with you. Even when I went through the airport, there's a police officer at the end of when you go through customs and everything. They usually have police presence right there. And I don't know if they have customs, but I don't know if they have we have customs where we have customs agents that are actually armed and everything. I don't know if they have that there. I didn't really see that, but they do have the police presence there. And so at the very end I went through all the security checkpoints and all that. And then I got to the very end. And at the very end, they always have you put your luggage through a machine. So you go pick up your bags, and then you walk through the end and you put your luggage through the machine. So I put my luggage in the machine. I'm walking out. And before my luggage was even through there, a police officer came up to me, shook my hand, and said, welcome to Colombia, which I thought was nice. But what happened is the lady that put my luggage through, she was like, oh, he has a lot of camera equipment, so we're going to need to look through that or whatever. So she went over to the police officer after he had come up, shook my hand, and then the police officer started going through my stuff. But it was a good experience. He was nice, he was polite, joking with me about different things, because all my stuff, it's all camera. I had the whole bag, my whole carry-on bag was all camera stuff. So he's looking through it, and you shoot professionally? Are you going to shoot the Carnaval and all that stuff? And I was just telling him, I'm going to shoot Carnaval and everything. So just very, very nice, very good experience. And usually when you have interactions with the police in Colombia, they're very very polite, and they're not as, I don't know how to explain it. You'd have to go there. But anyway, I felt safe the whole time I was there. You don't even really see too much going on out there, especially in large crowds. If you go to a large crowd anywhere, there are a lot of people, you're going to have people that are acting up, and you're going to see you're going to see things going on. I didn't see, there was one incident at Carnaval where two guys were arguing back and forth. There was no, it wasn't a fight or anything, but they were arguing back and forth, and the police got involved, and they just walked the two guys out. And they spent time talking to them, which I thought was really strange, because usually, in the U.S., they're going to separate you and tell you, you're done, go, get out of here. But it seemed like, and I wasn't in on the conversation, but it seemed like they were trying to resolve it so they could let them go back in, because they walked them outside of the carnival. But it looked like they were trying to resolve it so they could go back in. I don't know. They were staying by the gate. They weren't just telling them, okay, we're going to move you out and walk you over somewhere else. They just kept them by the gate, and it looked like they were going to try to see if they can let them back in or something. But yeah, I haven't had any issues at all when it comes to being in Colombia. Let's see. Amex Flex is great. Makes it easier if you're afraid of charge cards. Yeah, okay, so Pariah did answer that question. Thank you, Pariah, appreciate that. So he's just basically saying that Amex Flex is good. Because you don't want to be in that situation where you have a charge card and you can't pay it all off, and you get the late fee, and then they can even close your account out. So you don't want to be in that situation. So having the Flex is good. I've never had an American Express card, period. So I've never had a charge card. Let's see. Paris is overrated. Yeah, I agree with Pariah. I agree, Pariah. It is overrated. For photography, it's good to at least go once, because they do have they have the Louvre. They have a lot of these different places where you're going to want to take pictures of them just to say you were there. And there's a lot of history in Paris as well. But they're out there. You don't feel safe. And just my experience being in Paris, the locals were not very friendly with me. I don't know if it was just me, but they weren't that friendly. And like I said, you have questions, you ask people questions. Usually In Paris, they were very, very short with me, whereas in Colombia, they're going out of their way to like help you out and everything. Okay, I've never been to Paris, so I'm guessing you don't recommend it. No, Julio, and I guess I just kind of said, I recommend going there at least once. It's not a bad place. I'm just saying, as far as security, if you want to compare the two areas, like compare Medellin to Paris, or compare France to Colombia, I felt very safe in Colombia, whereas in Paris, I didn't feel as safe. Like you can see things going on where it was a little, I don't know, a little more uncomfortable. And the police out there in Paris, they're always in code 3. They always have the lights on. So everywhere they're going, there are lights and sirens. So you're always like looking like, and this was in Washington D.C. too. When I went to Washington D.C., they always have the lights on. And I don't know. I went for the inauguration years back, so maybe it was because of that. I haven't been back to D.C. since, but they always have the lights going. And when you see the lights on, like I live in California, Southern California. If I see lights on, something's going on. Like they're going to a traffic accident, or there's something else going on where they're going to. But in Paris, lights and sirens everywhere they go. And so it just seems like, oh my God, this is all this. Just in my mind, I'm thinking all this stuff is going on because every time I see a police vehicle, it has the lights and sirens on. So, yeah, let's see. Champ, what's going on? Hey, Dave, sorry. I'm so late, bro. Love the channel. Awesome content. Thank you. I appreciate that, Champ. And if you guys are in here right now, please hit the like button so we can push this up in the algorithms of YouTube so maybe more people can jump in and see what's going on. I will be doing another live stream tomorrow. That's my regular live stream. This is kind of just a little bonus. I just wanted to kind of get back in the swing of things. So tomorrow, and I want to talk about the Airbnb stuff now, but tomorrow we'll be talking about Avianca versus Copa Airlines. And I had a good experience. I had a pretty good experience on both, but there is one that's a clear winner when it comes to the airlines. So if you're traveling to South America, Panama, Colombia, anywhere, I won't say anywhere in South America, but a lot of different places and different destinations in South America, Copa and Avianca go to most of those places. So we'll talk about my business class experience with them. Okay, let's see. All right, if you guys have any other questions, please put them in the chat so we can discuss them. Now, I want to talk about Airbnb versus hotels. Okay, and when it comes to, and this is the way I look at it. Let's see. Hold on. We got one question before I get started. Okay, Melvin. Okay, Ace brought me to your channel. How was the time hanging with Ace? Okay, well, we'll talk about Ace right now. So, Melvin, are you in a travel group? Because if you're not in a travel group, go in and talk with Ace, and he'll get you in that travel group. Like I said, there's a travel group. There was a travel group out there, still out there. When we went to Colombia together. Now, Ace is the guy that started the whole travel group. And if you guys if you haven't visited his channel, please do. Let's see. This is Ace Live. I think that's how it goes. So just type that in the search on Google, and Google on YouTube, and it'll bring you up to his channel. He does a lot of stuff on Colombia. I've watched a lot of his stuff, and that's kind of how we linked up. And I like going to Colombia as well as he likes going to Colombia. So don't leave now. Don't leave my channel. Don't leave the live stream now. But after we're done here, then definitely go down and check him out. So meeting with him, he's a real cool dude, man. We had a good time, and there were probably about 8 or 9 of us that were there in Barranquilla for Carnaval. We were able to all meet up and hang out for a few days while we were there, and it was a good time. And like I told Ace, like I wouldn't have had this experience, because I wouldn't have gone if it wasn't for him putting up this travel group. Because at the time I'm thinking I wanted to plan a trip to Colombia, but I have to kind of work around my friends' schedules, right? For the most part, like when it comes to Colombia. Colombia is not one of those places where you just want to go by yourself. I mean, you can, But there are a lot of different things that you can experience, and you want to experience it with other people, or at least get to the point where you know other people in these different cities in Colombia, and then you can go hang out with them. And now I have some different people that I know in the cities where I can go hang out with them. But it's not like there's certain countries that you can go to. Like I like taking pictures, so there's certain countries I can go to, and I can totally do it on my own. Like Paris, I just talked about Paris. Paris is one of them. You can go to Paris and be on your own because there's so much to take pictures of. There's so much to photograph out there. And just I can spend days just going, spend one day, go to this small little town, take pictures there. Spend another day, go to this small town, take pictures there. Go to the Louvre. And if you don't know, the Louvre, the museum it takes more than a day to experience the Louvre. So with Colombia, it's a little different. You probably want to have someone with you or hang out with people to experience some of the different things because it's just not, there's not as much out there. So, but anyway, overall, yeah, Ace he was a cool dude. But like I said, Melvin, if you're not in the travel group, you should definitely get in there. If you are interested in going to Colombia or interested in going to any, like we've got it now to where we're really trying to figure out, okay, we want to go here, we want to go there, and we're going to start doing it as a group. So we're not going to travel together, but we'll get to the destination and be there at the same time, and then we'll link up when we get there. And it was a great time. And like I said, when it comes down to it, the beauty of linking up with different people that are in a group is, let's say you're going to Medellin. You can go to Medellin and you have, there's a couple other people that are in the group that are going to Medellin. Then you hook up that way, or you go to, you don't have to travel with the people. You can just go and kind of experience it that way. Okay. Let's see, Champ. See, Micah and I personally use Airbnb more. Hotels in general seem more expensive. Would love your thoughts on how the Marriott Bonvoy biz. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the Airbnb and hotels. And then Champ, you also asked a question about the Marriott Bonvoy business card. I don't have that card. I did a review on that card about 3 weeks ago. I think the card's a good card. I actually think it's out of the three that are out there right now, the Boundless and the Brilliant or whatever the other one's called. I like the business one the best. I think it offers the most, and it's like I think it was $95 or $125 annual fee. So I think it's a good card. And if you do have a business, I would recommend getting that card. Even if you don't have like a full-on business, but you have maybe you sell on eBay or Amazon, FBA or something like that, then I would still consider trying to get the business card. So out of the three, I would like the business. Out of the three, the business card I think is the best. Now, when it comes to Airbnbs and hotels, I would agree with you, Champ. Airbnbs are generally cheaper. And I'll talk about my Colombia experience, and maybe that'll give you guys a little better idea. So when I stayed in Barranquilla for the 4 days, I stayed in a hotel. So the Ibis Hotel is where I stayed. And that experience was good, but it's a small room, right? It's a hotel room, so it's a small room. You have your bathroom. I had a view. I didn't have a view, but I had a window, and the view wasn't very good. You don't really know what you're getting, right, when you stay in a hotel as far as the view is concerned. The great thing about Airbnb, you know what the view is going to look like because usually they're going to have pictures of the actual view. And so it's that same apartment is where you're going to stay. So what you see out of that window is what you're going to get. And that's one thing I really like about Airbnb. The other thing I like about Airbnbs, they're generally cheaper. So I was paying, okay, now granted it was Carnaval when I stayed in Barranquilla, so the prices jumped up. So I was paying $100, like $114 a night is what I was paying. At a normal time, I think it's around $40 to $50 a night at the Ibis Hotel. So I was paying double. And with Airbnb, even Airbnbs in that area, and I was looking at some of the Airbnbs in that area, and some of them were pretty high, but they're still a little less, $60, $70 for Airbnb in Barranquilla during Carnival. The next Carnival, I will stay in the Airbnb. I'm not going to stay in a hotel. And I'll stay in an Airbnb close enough to where I can walk to the Carnival. So that's I already have that set in stone. That's already my plan. Now, where was I? So as far as the Airbnbs, the Airbnb in Medellin, it was $29 a night to stay there. And like I said, I knew my view. I knew exactly what I was going to be seeing out the window, and it was an amazing view. So I had an amazing view of the whole, not the whole city, but part of the city. I had a really good view of, and I was on the 12th floor, so I was able to see out at everything, do time-lapse photography, which I love doing, and just take pictures outside that window. So that was good. They also have washer dryer. So when I do Airbnbs, I usually make sure they have a washer dryer. So it was perfect because I stayed in Barranquilla for 4 days, and I stayed there for 4 days, but I wore like 2 sets of clothes every day. So went to the parade route, wore 1 set of clothes, and then later for the nightlife, I wore a separate set of clothes. And if you haven't been to Carnival before, they like to spray foam on you, and they like to put powder on you. So you're going to get dirty every day. There's no way you're not going to get dirty if you're going to Carnival. So that's another thing. And I have a video that will be coming out where I kind of talk about what to wear and what to bring and stuff for Carnival. But one of the things is you need to bring probably twice as many clothes as you normally do, because you're going to wear 2 sets of clothes every day for the most part. If you do the parade, you'll be at that parade. It's 85, 90 degrees, hot, humid. You're going to come home and you're going to want to change. You're going to take a shower and you're going to want to change into something else. So when you're out at the parade route, you're getting foam sprayed on you, you're getting powder put on you. And then when you come home, you take a shower, get dressed up for the night, go out to one of these block parties. You're going to get foam on you, and you're gonna get powder on you. So every night I was getting, both sets of clothes they were ruined. They needed to be washed, and so it was perfect because at Barranquilla I had all my clothes that were dirty and everything. Took them to Medellin, and I was able to wash my clothes. And so that's one of the real perks of Airbnb. You can wash your clothes, because I looked at Ibis Hotel just to see, out of curiosity, how much it is to wash a shirt. A shirt was like $3, and that's expensive for Colombia. Like usually, I was thinking it would be cheaper than that, but no, just to wash a shirt, they wanted to charge $3. So that's one thing I love about Airbnbs. Now, the drawbacks of Airbnbs, one of the drawbacks, you don't always know what your internet's going to be like. And I guess hotel, you can't really, I think hotels are they do a little bit better job when it comes to internet, because they will fix the problems like right away if there is an issue. Not in all cases, but I'm just saying, like, kind of an overall thing. But it's kind of hit and miss with Airbnbs. You might get an Airbnb that has really good internet, and you might get an Airbnb like I got this last time, where the internet was spotty. It was on and off, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to get. So that was just my experience there. Now, the other things, like other drawbacks of Airbnbs, depending on how the setup is, you have to meet with someone to get the key. They give you the key, but is there a possibility that someone else might have that key and could go into your place and steal some of the stuff that you have in there? That kind of stuff. So there's always that kind of stuff going on. Usually if you use like a person that's had an Airbnb for a while, usually you're not going to have any issues. You check out their ratings. Usually you're not going to have any issues. You just have to kind of watch the people that are brand new to Airbnb, that don't really have a track record. You might want to avoid them. But usually if it's an established person on Airbnb, it's usually pretty good. So all in all, though, if I'm traveling with friends, and I've said this before, but if I'm traveling with friends, I would definitely stay in an Airbnb over a hotel in almost any situation if I'm traveling with friends, because it's perfect. You can get a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, however many rooms you need. You can get it for a lot less than a hotel, and you have your own space, but you're in the same house or the same apartment. So that's great. You have the washer dryer. That's great. You have the kitchen in a lot of situations. I had the kitchen in this one where I was able to to cook if I need. I didn't cook, but it was there. It was available. I had a fridge, a big fridge, and there's stuff I wanted to go buy groceries and stuff. I could have done that. So you just have all those amenities that you won't have in a hotel. So I do like that. And another thing too is with Airbnbs, in some situations, you can get away from all the tourist traps, all the like the tourist area. You can kind of go to another area where you can get a different experience. So I like that as well. So in most situations, I'm looking at Airbnb first, and then I'm looking at hotel. And if I'm traveling alone, then hotel is probably more desirable because I just know there's some extra added security there where you have, it's 24 hours. People know where it is. The taxi drivers generally will know where the big hotels are. So that kind of stuff. And usually the hotels are in a relatively, if it's a nice hotel, it's usually in a relatively nice area. So you don't really have to worry about that if you're walking out on the street at night around your hotel. So just different things like that. Those are the things that I really look for if I'm traveling alone. Now, like I said, if I'm traveling with friends, Airbnb is probably always going to be the way that I go. But in most situations, Airbnb would be my option. All right, let's see here. Nika, what's going on? Reckless Weekend, how you doing? And let's see. I don't like Airbnbs in the States. Airbnbs, while black, it's real. Other countries, it's great. Now, I've never stayed in an Airbnb in the U.S. That's good that you brought that up. I would say, if it's the U.S., I'm going to stay in a hotel. I'm not going to stay in an Airbnb. But if I'm traveling outside of the country, yeah, Airbnbs are much better. I don't really know if you can benefit staying in an Airbnb in the U.S. As far as like price. I don't know how much Airbnbs are in the U.S., but yeah, I would probably just do a hotel. I don't really spend too much time in the U.S. If I'm traveling, I like to go out of the country. But if I were to stay in the U.S., I'd probably just stay in a hotel. Let's see. Other countries great. Still prefer hotels because I book everything last minute. Okay, so that's Nika saying that. So that's what she finished saying. She recommends, or she prefers staying in hotels because she books everything last minute. You can still book last minute with Airbnb, and I did this last trip and to Medellin. I booked like a week before. As a matter of fact, the place that I wanted to stay in Airbnb, it was there one day, the next day it was gone, and so then I booked this one. But yeah, you can still book last minute with Airbnbs. The other good thing about hotel bookings, generally, if you book directly with the hotel, you have that free cancellation up until 24 hours. Now Airbnb, they're doing a lot of that with some of their properties. They're allowing you to do the free cancellation, but that is a good thing with hotels. You always know that you can do that free cancellation, so that does help. Okay, how far in advance do you generally look to book your stays? So Champ is asking how far in advance. Ideally, I like to do it a couple months in advance, and that's if I'm using points. But the good thing about points is you can book last minute, and you really don't, in a lot of situations, you're not going to pay anything extra. Hyatt used to have a great system. They've changed it, which really irritates me. But as far as like booking hotel rooms, they used to have a flat fee. So it was like if you're doing points plus cash, it was a flat fee. I would use Just for example, 6,000 points and $75 cash. It was always $75 cash. It never went up or down depending on when you book. So I can book it for tomorrow. It would be $75 cash plus 6,000 points. They've now changed it so where it's half of the cost of booking the room. So if the room is $200, then it's $100. So if you're booking last minute, they hike those prices up. So in certain situations, the price might get hiked up, and now you're paying a lot more. But for the most part, like booking airfare and stuff like that, as long as there's an available reward seat, you're not going to pay anything extra unless you're doing the United thing. I don't know about some of the other airlines, but United is one where if it's 3 weeks before, less than 3 weeks before your flight, then you have to pay that extra close-in fee, which is like $75. Okay, let's see. I don't like every. Let's see. I agree, Nika. Hotels for solo travel is smart. Keeping that in mind. Yeah, I think it is smart. Just if you're solo, yeah, hotels are just. And then they have other little things that will keep you. You have room service, okay? So most hotels, you're going to have room service. So you don't have to be out. Like, let's say it's late at night and you're hungry. You can go back to the hotel, order room service, as opposed to walking out on the street trying to find something to eat late at night. So things like that. And they also, they know you're there. They keep records. They have your passport. They take a copy of your passport, so they have that. If something, God forbid, were to happen, you show up missing or something like that, the hotel, they're gonna probably be one of the first people to know that, hey, something's not right. This person hasn't been back for a couple of days, and all that. So you have some extra added security there too. So that's good. Plus, they can see. They have the cameras and stuff. They can see when you leave, see when you come back. So if there is something that goes wrong, they'll have at least some type of a record of when you last left. So that's good. Let's see, what else do we have? Nika, LOL. I mostly book when I land. When you land? Whoa. All right, Nika, yeah, that is late. It's life, okay. I used Airbnb in New York City. It was a conference or something going on. The hotel prices were through the roof. Everyone kept denying me even if I said the place was available. Oh, okay. So it looks like Nika had some issues with booking Airbnbs in New York during a conference. Okay, there's one thing too that I found, and I have not experienced this, but I've actually, on this trip, it happened to one of the guys that was in the travel group, where you book a room, Airbnb, and you book it early. So in this case, this guy booked it early and he got in on, I don't know how much it was, but we'll just make up a number. So $100 a night, let's just say it was. For Carnaval, it's $100 a night. He booked it a couple months ago. So he was set, ready to go. Now they have, I think it's 7 days prior to the person coming to stay there, they can cancel. So what happened is the Airbnb, the owner, canceled, and then, told them, hey, we're going to have to cancel. And then, since it's right before Carnaval, then they put it back out there, and then they hike the rate up. So instead of $100 a night, now it's like $300 a night. And then they'll get somebody else to get in. And someone else will come in for $300 a night, and now they're making some extra money. So I have heard of that happening. This isn't the first time I heard of it happening. It happened with one of the guys in the travel group, but I've also heard of that happening with other people. So that's pretty that's pretty irritating. So be aware of that too in certain situations. Now for that, I would definitely give a bad review, just to warn other people that this owner is like that. So if there's a large event happening, you might be able to book it early and think you're all set, and then 7 days prior, a week prior, they just cancel on you, and then now you have to find somewhere else. And it puts you in that bind, because now you're going to have to look out and find somewhere else, and you might be paying $300 a night where you already had it booked for $100 a night. So, all right. Let's see, David. Out of all the credit card guys out there, you seem to have at least amount of cards. Other YouTubers have around 20 plus. Yes, yes, they do. So Champ is just saying that out of all the different YouTube people out there, as far as travel cards, I seem to have the least. Yeah, I have 7 cards, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of my 7 cards. Now, I'm not. I use the cards to travel, and the channel is about traveling and exploring different places and taking pictures. That's what the channel is about. I do talk a lot about travel credit cards because I think they are a good option or a good alternative to spending all your money. I think they're a good way to travel, and that's why I talk about it. I'm not a guru when it comes to travel reward credit cards. I don't know everything when it comes to travel reward credit cards. I can tell you my experiences. I can tell you about the cards that I use and why I use them. But I'm not one of the people that will just get cards just because I want to be able to tell you, oh yeah, Amex Gold is a great card, and I have it, and this card's a great card, and I have this one. So I get what I need. So I get the cards that I need at the time, and then I just go with it. There are people out there that they're in it for just getting the cards, getting the points, and there are some people out there, and like you'll see some of the channels out there, and most of them are really good, but you'll see some of the channels out there, and all they talk about is the travel credit cards. But what about the travel? Like, the travel is the reason I got the cards. So I want to talk about the travel. But if you have questions about, hey, well, how did you get there? How did you go to Colombia? How did you fly business class? Oh, I'll tell you. I got this card, I have this card, I have these points. I use these points in order to get to Colombia, or I use these points in order to get to wherever these different destinations are. There are a lot of people that do have points and they don't use them. I have a friend right now, he's got over 100,000 points. He doesn't know how to use them and doesn't use them. So that's what I'm all about. There are a lot of people out there too, and I think I just saw something on there about churning. There are a lot of people out there too that get a bunch of cards because they churn the card. So they'll get a card, get the bonus, and then they'll move on to the next card, and they'll just keep doing that. I'm not in the business of churning. I have no interest in doing that. So that's just not my deal. So I'm not in a race to get the most cards and to say, hey, I have 26 cards, and these are all the cards that I have and all that. So I'm not the expert when it comes to travel credit cards, but I do use the points, and I'll tell you how I use them if you have those questions. All right, let's see. And also too, you have to understand there are different styles of like using travel credit cards. You have people that are more conservative, like myself. So you do have people that are serious about travel credit cards, but they're more conservative, and they realize, hey, I'm getting cards for the long term. I'm getting these keeper cards that I'm gonna have for years and years and years, as opposed to getting a bunch of cards and then just continuing to get a bunch of different cards to hit the sign-up bonuses. So yeah, that's just kind of how I go about it. All right, let's move on here. David, what's going on, David? Hey, hope the trip went well. Pissed I missed 90 minutes. No worries, David. We'll be on tomorrow. So at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard, we'll do another live stream. This is more of a bonus, so don't be mad that you missed anything. Let's see. Is the channel is about trouble when not churn as many cards? Okay, so David's asking a question about churning. So if the channel is about travel, why not churn as many cards as you can so you can travel the most? Well, I do have a full-time job, and I usually like to travel at least 4 times a year. If I'm churning, if I didn't have a job, a full-time job, then I would probably have more cards. Well, I don't know, if that would work, how I would get more cards if I wasn't working. But I don't have like unlimited free time to travel. If I did have unlimited free time to travel, then yeah, I would probably have more cards. But for me, 4 to 5 times a year is usually that's usually kind of my travel patterns. So I need enough points in order to make that happen every year. And if I were churning, I would have a lot more than that. So there's really no, at this point for me, there's really no reason to get all those different cards. All right, Nika, you have to spend a lot of money to be in this credit card game. Some people don't have that many expenses. Okay, so Nika, yeah, that's a good point, Nika. As far as you do need to spend money to get points, and uh, everyone has different things they spend money on, but for me, I'm just using it for my everyday stuff. So, uh, and I'm single. It's just me. I'm not paying for kids. I'm not paying for a wife or anything like that, or like paying for like family-oriented stuff, going to the grocery store, buying stuff for the family, all that. I'm just spending on me, and I do pretty. I can spend the money, so yeah, it generally works out. So yeah, we all have different spending habits. So let's just put it that way. So yeah, some people will be able to get more points than others, but I think on a conservative, like if you look at a conservative level, you could still probably get at least 20 to 30,000 points a year. That's very, very conservative. And then if you start trying to factor in some different bank, usually you'll get these bank offers and stuff like that. Chase has bank offers, Citi has bank offers, where you open up a bank account and you have to have it open for like 3 months or something like that, and they give you 50,000 points or they give you 30,000 points. So there are different ways to get points without using your credit card. And then you also have the travel portal, or not travel portals, you have the shopping portals. Shopping portals are really, really a good way to earn extra points. And so, let's say Staples. And I'm getting over a cold. I don't know if you guys know that, but my nose is like really stopped up. So anyway, let's say Staples. If I want to shop at Staples, I can shop online, but go through the portal. So go through Chase, go through the Chase portal, shop online. I get extra points just for going through the portal. So let's say Chase, or not Chase, but Staples. I have a card, the Business Plus card that I have gives me 5 times points if I'm shopping at office supply stores. If I go on the online portal, I can get an additional 2 points for every dollar spent. So that'll give me now 7 points for every dollar spent at Staples. And I just order it. I just shop online, but pick it up at the store. So I can shop, pick it up the same day. So it's just like I'm going to the store. It's actually better than going to the store because you shop and you get everything you need, and then you just go to the store and they have it all there for you, so you don't have to walk around the store. All right. Awesome. Thanks for keeping it real. Okay, Nika, the ability to churn had changed so much. And they're really cracking down on people churning now. And you see with the 524 rules and because banks know that these churners are really hurting their business, because if you get a card and you have no intention to continue using the card, you just get it, use the card to hit the sign-up bonus, and then move on to the next card, and you don't use that card anymore, they know they're losing money, the banks are. So they're really focused on trying to crack down on that. So just be prepared in the future. You're probably going to have less people churning. Okay, I'm hoarding points. Okay, so David's talking about he's hoarding points. I go to travel store, click 300,000. Oh, see, look at this. So he's 300,000 Amex points, 250,000 Hilton, 250,000 or 225,000 Marriott, 75,000 Citi, and 75,000 Delta. I highly, strongly encourage you to use those points, David, because those points will lose value over time. So if you have the free time to go on trips and things like that, then use them. Like some people do want to you kind of get to the point where I want to hit 500,000 points, and yeah, they lose value over time. So I would try to use them when you can. When I say they lose value over time, I mean the credit card companies will start changing some of the benefits, and usually they start off strong, right? The Chase Sapphire Reserve, they started off strong, give you 100,000 bonus points, and the card was really strong. It's still very strong, but they start coming back on. They could start, bringing backing off on some of this stuff. So when they promote it, yes, they're going to put it all out there, and then they'll start kind of pulling back a little bit. You saw that with the City Prestige card, where they start pulling back a little bit. The fourth night free, now it's only twice a year, or well, it will only be twice a year after September, whereas before it was unlimited. So they start pulling back a little bit, so you want to be able to use those points when you can, before they start making those little slight changes. The Hyatt, perfect example. You have all those points. You had the set rates, $75 and 6,000 points, and now they're pulling back on it where you have to pay more. And they'll, like with Hyatt, they change the categories every year. So a category 1 year, or I'm sorry, something that was a category 2 or a category 3 1 year might bump up to category 4 or category 5. Now, if they bump up, that's more points that you have to use in order to stay at the same hotel. So, all right, let's see, Champ, I'm a fan of your conservative style. Do you have any cards you're currently looking at? The only card, that's Champ asking that question, the only card I'm looking at right now is, or there are two cards really, but the Amex Platinum and the Amex Gold. Those are the two cards that I'm looking at now. I have no need at this point to get them, but in the future I will. I'm getting the Amex Platinum for sure in the future, and I'll probably get the Amex Gold just to complement the Amex Platinum. Let's see, Nika. I just got the Amex Platinum. Got the spend 5,000 in 3 months. I don't usually spend that much in 3 months, so now I have to get creative. Okay, so wait, I just got it. And I have to spend 5,000. Yeah, so Nika just said she just got the Amex Platinum. She's got to spend that 5,000. So I'm guessing you haven't spent it yet, and you're gonna have to get creative to figure out how to spend it. My advice to you in a lot of situations, if you know you want to get a card like that with that high sign-up bonus, there are two things to look at. One, wait until you have something big that you need to purchase. You already have the cash now, but wait until you have like a big purchase to make. Or go to family members. If family members have something big that they need to purchase, you purchase it, they give you the cash, you put that in your account, and you pay it off. So those are my two. That's my advice when it comes to cards like that. But make sure you have the money, definitely, and make sure you can hit that minimum spend, because it's really bad to get a card and not hit the minimum spend, and then now you don't get the 50,000 bonus points or 60,000 or whatever it is at the time. So yeah, make sure you can hit it. Let's see. Cash them in, no travel. I'm too busy to spend them. Yeah, so David's saying he's too busy to spend all those points. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're too busy, you're too busy. Hold them for as long as you can, and then when you retire, I don't know. I would be using those points though, if at all possible. Try to figure out a way. Maybe travel at least once a year and use it for that. The hotel points, like the Hilton, you can easily use those points in one trip if you stay at a nice enough hotel. But yeah, I would use them. All right. Okay, so we've gone through everything, all the questions. Let's say I applied on Sunday, got it in the mail on Tuesday. Wow, that's pretty quick. Went to the Centurion Lounge on Friday. So how was the Centurion Lounge, Nika? Let's go in Chicago week, but got hit with a 16-hour delay. Ooh, canceled the trip. Wow. Yeah, Nika, let us know how the Centurion Lounge was in San Francisco. I hear it's nice, but I just want to hear from you. Any cards you regret, don't like as much. So Champ is asking, I think he's asking me if there's any cards that I don't like or that I regret. The American Express Advantage card, just the regular, the $95 annual fee. I don't even know what the card's called. But yeah, I kind of regret that card. I don't use it anymore, and I still have it, and I will be canceling. I keep saying that, I know. I haven't hit the annual fee yet again. But I just don't use it, and I don't like flying on American Airlines. That's just, I started out flying on American Airlines, but but their customer service just wasn't up to par, and so I don't fly with them anymore. So I do kind of regret getting the card because of that. But and plus you don't really with airline branded cards, you're not really going to hit any real milestones milestones. You're not going to really earn very fast with those cards, and this card is no exception. Like you don't really earn that fast. So I just kind of have the card. I don't use it anymore. It just sits there. But that's the only card that I regret. Out of all the other cards, I have the Chase Sapphire Reserve, Chase Sapphire Preferred, the Hyatt, the World of Hyatt card. I had the regular Hyatt card, and then I upgraded to the World of Hyatt card, or not really upgraded, but changed over to the World of Hyatt card. I have the Chase Inc. Unlimited, the Chase Inc. Business Plus card, which is an older card they don't have anymore. The United Business Plus card, I just got that one. And I think that's it. Maybe one more that I can't. Oh, did I say Chase Sapphire Preferred Reserve? Yeah, I think that's all that I have. I might have one more. I can't think right now. But yeah, out of all those cards, I like all those cards. But the only one that I really kind of regret is the American Airline card. Let's see. Hey, David, they have banana water at the Centurion Lounge in Vegas. I like mint water and fruit water. You use the hotel lobbies. Very interesting. Banana water. Well, it's got a lot of potassium in it, I guess. That's good. Let's see. It was nice, but it was packed. See, and that's ooh, Nika, you bring up a good point. Like, that's one thing I don't like. Like, and I thought, well, maybe they'll just make more. And I would imagine San Francisco is going to be pretty packed because it's a major hub. Let's see. Great food, though barely anywhere to sit. It's small, but it's very. It was my first one I've been in, so I can't compare it to anything. Okay, so Nika's basically saying the food was good, it was crowded, there weren't very many places to sit, and she can't really compare because she hasn't gone to another Centurion Lounge. Yeah, the only reason that I really want to get the Platinum is for the Centurion Lounges, so I'll have to just see. But I don't like that whole crowded thing. It's just, oh, man, you gotta limit it. I don't know. Yeah, that bothers me because that's one thing I can't stand. Going into a lounge and just being people everywhere. And I had that experience again going through Panama to get to Colombia. I stayed in the Copa's lounge, and it's a priority pass lounge. Plus, I was flying business class. I was able to go that way, but there's just so many people in there, and they didn't have any food. They had snacks, coffee, water. But there's just tons and tons of people in there. It's like the only lounge. It seems like it's the only lounge in the airport. Is that crazy? The only good thing about it is there was air conditioning. There was air conditioning in the lounge, and then as soon as you walk out the door, there's no air conditioning. Or if there's air conditioning, you can't really feel it because all I felt was heat. Okay, David says Seattle Centurion Lounge is small. It's really nice, but there is a Delta Lounge right next door that's 10 times bigger and almost as nice. Okay, so, and you also get the Delta Lounges with the Amex Platinum, so that's good. Let's see, Cham, sorry about your AA experience. What airlines do you prefer these days? So my two favorite airlines, actually there's three that I really like, but, okay, my two favorite, Alaska Airlines and JetBlue. Those are my two favorite. Now, what I fly the most now, because of the Chase transfers and all that, is with United. So with a United partner or with United. But I really like JetBlue. I like JetBlue's setup. I like the fact that JetBlue does go to some countries in South America and Central America. And I like the fact that you can pay a little bit more and get the even more seats. The little extra leg room. So you don't have to fly business class all the time or anything like that. You can pay just a little bit more and fly in those seats. In my routine, usually what I'll do is I'll book a regular seat and I will wait until the day that I'm going to be flying out. And then I will check the seats to see what's available, because usually people won't pay for those seats. I don't know why. Like, I don't see very many people paying for those seats usually, and so I'll wait. And then once it's the day of, I'll look, see whatever seats are available, and I'll try to find one where there's 3 across. And usually I do, for whatever reason. They're not paying for them, and then I'll pay for either a window. I'll pay for the window seat usually. Pay for the window seat on that aisle, and then usually there won't be anybody in the middle. That's kind of been my experience. So that's kind of what I do with JetBlue. But I really like JetBlue. That's the airline. That's my favorite. And I like Alaska Airlines because Alaska has some unique partners. So if you want to travel outside the country and you have points with Alaska, you can transfer those points, or you can use those points, book. Like when I went to Thailand, the flight back, I used Alaska Airline points, and it was only 50,000 points to fly business class back. And I flew on Hainan Air. So you can fly with some different partners. The thing that I don't like about JetBlue is they don't have those different partners that you can team up with if you want to fly out of the country. Fly to overseas is pretty much what I'm saying. Okay. Let's see. David, Centurion Lounge always have huge full meals when I go. So the Dallas Centurion Lounge, they always have huge full meals. You know, one thing, and I can't remember who brought this up, but they did bring it up on the chat. I wanted to go to the P.F. Chang's at the LAX airport because you have that access. And actually, they just brought it up here. Maybe it was David that brought it up. Yeah, you did bring it up. Okay, so you just reminded me again. I didn't go to P.F. Chang's because I didn't have the time. I got to the airport, and I had, like I said, I went to the Star Alliance Lounge, and I was only there for 20 minutes. I just went in there basically to see it, and I grabbed a little bit of food and then left. But I didn't have enough time to go to P.F. Chang's, so that was, I'll do it the next time. But, you know, Priority Pass has, they have kind of a deal with P.F. Chang's where you can order up to like $32 worth of food, and they'll pay for that. So you can use that in place of going to the lounge. You can just go to P.F. Chang's and get an actual meal. So I do want to do that. And the P.F. Chang's is right there. Like the Star Alliance Lounge is on one level, and right below it was P.F. Chang's. But 20 minutes is not enough time, so I couldn't do it. All right. But next time for sure. Nika, they had reserved seats for Black Card members. Okay. Oh, so they had reserved seats for Black Card members at the Centurion Lounge. Wow. Okay. You don't have very many Black Card members, so I guess it's probably not, they're not taking up that much. But that's pretty interesting. Let's see, David. Crowded lounge with snacks is still always better than hanging out in the terminal at the gate. Yeah, so David's saying that crowded lounge is still better than hanging out at the regular terminal. It is. I would agree. I'm getting, you know, see, I'm getting spoiled. You get these Priority Pass lounge and you go in there and then you start being picky about it. I remember the first time I went into a lounge and it wasn't like a real nice lounge. It was just kind of a run-of-the-mill lounge. And I was just all excited. Kid in a candy store. You go in there and get free Wi-Fi and all the little different snacks you can get and all that. But now I'm getting picky because I've been in some of these nicer lounges and I want everything to be nice. But I would agree, David, 100%. It's better than being in the regular terminal. And just like I said, I went to the Star Alliance Lounge just for 20 minutes. I didn't have to. It took me, 10 minutes to get there walking to get to Star Alliance Lounge, only to be there 20 minutes and then walk 10 minutes back to the terminal. But I did it just because, yeah, you want to go in the lounge and get some snacks and stuff. So, yeah, it is always better. Let's see, Nika. I wish JetBlue would have got the Virgin America use. My favorite, Alaska. Bought it, yeah. They were the first time going to Anchorage. Yeah, so Nika's just saying that she wished JetBlue would have gotten that if they would have been able to buy a Virgin America instead of Alaska. Now, Alaska's good. You should, I think you said you did fly them for the first time, but Alaska, they're pretty good. They've always come out on top when it comes to the customer service and everything. So they do well with their customers. And for me, that's really important. So, and that's the reason that American Airlines is not like on the top of my list, mainly because of that customer service thing. And that, for me, that goes a long way. I mean, it really does. There's one, and I'll talk more about the Avianca thing tomorrow, but there was one issue that I really got frustrated with Avianca when it was only on one of the flights, but I was flying from, I believe I was on my way home. Yeah, so I was flying from Bogota to El Salvador is where I had to fly. And so we're all sitting there, sitting at the gate, and we're waiting. And so I had gone to the little lounge there, and I came back, and now I'm sitting down waiting, and it's time for our flight to be there, to be boarding. And there are people, they're at Avianca, you have the gate people, they're there, and then they leave. And they leave. They like close it down, and then they leave. No announcement, nothing. And they go wherever they're going. I don't know where they went, but so then when they left, and I'm watching them, and I always do. This is kind of weird, but if I don't I speak some Spanish, but I don't speak a lot. So I'm always constantly, my eyes are always looking around. I'm looking at people, looking at different things, looking at the monitor to see where I'm supposed to be, the gate and all that. I'm trying to listen as much as I can when they're making the announcements. They didn't make an announcement. We're all sitting there, and I'm watching these people, and they're watching the gate. They're watching the screen. They're looking at different things, and they walk away. And I'm thinking, why are they walking away? They should be here. And another thing I always look at too is I always look at the captain, the crew. So I look at the crew, and if the crew's there, then I feel good. If the crew's not there, then I'm like thinking, why isn't the crew here? So anyway, so these people walk away, and so I'm thinking, what's going on? So I go look at the gate, and sure, they changed the gate. So now the gate is another spot. It went from like 73 to 84 or something like that. But it irritated me that they didn't give an announcement, and so they didn't. I'd never heard them give an announcement actually, and so I walked over to the other terminal with everyone else because at that time people started realizing, okay, something's going on, and then they're looking at the gate, and then they're walking over to this other gate as well. So they didn't give an announcement, which is really, I don't know, I don't get that, and so we go to the next gate, and so that was one of the things customer service. You're leaving, you're walking away for a reason. Give an announcement. Hey, there's a gate change. The gate is changed to 84 instead of 73. So that was just one of the flights. But yeah, I'm gonna go over both airlines tomorrow, more in depth, so you guys can get a better feel of both airlines. Let's see what else do we have here. TZ. Do you have the Alaska credit card? I don't have the Alaska credit card. I think David, you asked me which cards am I looking at. I just got that United Plus business card, and I do in the future want to get either an Alaska card or a JetBlue card. I haven't decided between the two. The Alaska card is more flexible because of the travel partners, so I might go that route. I'm actually leaning more toward the Alaska card just because of that. But JetBlue is still very, I mean, I like flights to Colombia on JetBlue. I love doing those flights. So I might look into, I don't know, we'll see. I might end up getting them both after all, but Alaska is probably going to be the card that I get next. The next airline card that I get will probably be Alaska, because I have that flexibility and to fly like to different parts of the country, or different parts of the world, I should say. Okay, Nika baby, extra customer service. I think you're talking about Alaska Airlines. Let's see, Nika, I'm flying them Bogota to Cartagena. When are you going to Bogota, Nika? Let's see. Chow down. Need to book JetBlue and Alaska more. Yeah, champ, you should try. If you haven't flown on JetBlue or Alaska, you should look into them. They're great. Like I really don't fly Southwest. I don't really like Southwest, but JetBlue is always, that's like my, if I can fly to Colombia on JetBlue, I'm happy. And you can save money because you don't have to fly business class, or I don't know. You don't have to fly business class anyway, but you can get a pretty decent experience flying long distance on JetBlue if you get in the even more seats, because you can kind of relax a little bit. Okay, so Nika, you're gonna leave on March 24th. Cool. So wow, that's like 10 days or less, a lot less than 10 days. So you're flying out next Sunday, or not Sunday, Sunday after next. Let me get this right. Yeah, Sunday after next. Wow, so that should be fun. So Nika, you need to hit me up if you have questions or anything like that about Cartagena. Definitely hit me up. So you're going to be flying. So it looks like you're saying you're leaving to Bogota on March 24th. Are you staying in Bogota a few days? I know we had this discussion where you said you didn't want to stay in Bogota, but you wanted to go somewhere else. Yeah, if you have questions, I don't know much about Bogota. I'll be honest with you. I was only there for 2 days, and I didn't like it. I didn't like Bogota. I really didn't. It's cold. You're at a high elevation, so the air is really thin, so you're like short breath, short-winded everywhere you go. There are 2 spots that I went to that I did like in Bogota, and they take you, I don't know the name of it, but they take you on this like, I don't know what they call those things, but it's like a suspension thing that takes you up to the top of this hill. And at nighttime, it's really nice because you get to see the whole city. So that's nice. If you go there like at sunset, it's perfect because you go sunset and you can see the sun setting and everything. It's nice. Then they have salt mines in near Bogota. It's about an hour and a half away. So you can go out there, and that's really nice as well because it's like a church that they built into a salt mine. It's really colorful. They have these lights and everything. It's nice. It's impressive. So those are the 2 places that I would go in Bogota. Now, Cartagena, there's a lot more. There's a lot more in Cartagena to do. The old town, the walled city, you go there. They have a St. Vincent. They have this big fort there. They have the beaches. But like I said, the beaches, you're going to want to take one of the island excursions. So go to one of the different, I would probably go to a couple of the islands, to be honest with you, if you have enough time spent there. Let's see. I got all the questions. David, thanks for the tips. Do you spend your points on business, first class, or economy? Okay, so Champ is asking me, and I kind of stopped. Let's see. Nika, I'm going to get back to your question. I see you said you put some other stuff on there. We'll answer those in a second. But Champ is asking, do I use my points mainly for business and first class? It depends. It depends on how long I'm flying. So if it's a 6-hour flight, I'm fine with economy. But when you start getting to the overseas stuff where you're going to be 10 hours or 11 hours or 12 hours, then I'm trying to do business class if possible. Business class or first class. But there are certain situations where, like this last trip to Colombia, I flew business class, and the main reason I did is because you had more available business class seats than you did economy seats. And so at the time when I tried to book, the economy seats were 50,000 points, and the business class seats were 35,000 points. So it was a no-brainer at that point. I'm going to go ahead and book. I'm going to go ahead and book a business class because why spend 50,000 points to fly economy? United does that because United doesn't have any blackout dates. If they had blackout dates, then they would just close it off, so you wouldn't be able to book any more economy seats. Because a regular economy seat was 20,000 points. But because they were short, they made it 50,000. Okay. Nika, I got all the questions. Everything's okay. Melvin, JetBlue. Out of Long Beach Airport is the best. Yes, I agree, Melvin. Um, and so you must live in California, Southern Cal. Long Beach Airport is one of the smallest airports I've ever been to. I mean, you're literally get in and out. Like, you get you get to the airport, you walk right through security. I mean, you go to the checkpoint, you go through security, and you're at your terminal within, God, 10 minutes would be long. You could do it in 5 easily, especially if you have like TSA pre-check or global entry. So, and then you're right there. You're right on at the airport. You walk out. There's no jetways or anything like that. You just walk right out on the tarmac and then get in your plane, and you go. So it is a very small, convenient airport. They're starting to expand though. They do have little restaurants and stuff like that now. Not really like restaurants, more kind of like a fast food style restaurants. They have a nice little lounge. The last time I went there, not a lounge like a airport lounge, but kind of a bar area. Where you can sit out and they're improving it, but it's a very a small place, not a lot of people, and you can get in and out very fast. Let's see, Nika. No, I land at 9 p.m. and my flight to Cartagena is at 11 p.m. Okay, cool. That sounds cool. I might do a day in Bogota. Yeah, you'll have fun. You'll have fun in Cartagena for sure. And like I said, if you have questions or anything like that, just feel free to hit me up. I don't know. Oh, okay. I have my little thing on here. So I have my Instagram. Instagram, like the messenger, is probably the best way to get a hold of me if you need to get a hold of me for questions and stuff like that. Like I said, I do want to start a WhatsApp group. That's kind of going to be my next little thing that I do, and that just will be for everyone, just to communicate with each other about travel and all this stuff. So I'm gonna figure out how to do a group, and then people who are interested, just let me know, send me an email or hit me up on Instagram on the messenger, and then I'll send you the link, and then you can just jump into WhatsApp, and we can help each other out that way. Let's see. Would you ever make this channel your full-time job? So that's David asking me that. I'm at a point right now where I can retire in 4 years. So at that point, maybe, but I wouldn't quit my job at this point. I've worked too many years to just quit my job and do this full-time. And right now it's not paying the bills. I mean, I make a little bit every month. It's fun. I like doing it because it's fun, and I can share my experiences. I was actually shocked that I got to the point where I went from being a person who was frustrated about travel and all aspects of travel. Like I liked going to different places. I liked vacationing, being in different destinations, but I was very frustrated with just travel, like the whole process, going to the airport, standing in long lines, flying on a crowded plane in economy where you're shoulder to shoulder with people, and I don't know. The whole travel process was frustrating to me. So I started working on those different things. The cost of travel is just outrageous, but using points, you can travel for a lot less and have a really good experience. So I started working on those things, and now I've gotten to the point where I'm really happy with pretty much all aspects of travel. And so that's why I really wanted to put that out on the channel. Like, hey, a lot of the things you don't like about travel, you can fix those things. The long lines, you can fix those things. You can get, the long line, let's say the long line for check-in, which is usually that happens a lot where you have this long lines for check-in. Learn how to pack a lot lighter, bring a carry-on. Don't check your bag. If you're not checking your bag, there's no need for you to stand in those lines to check in. When you get to the TSA pre-check, another thing too is if you're packing lighter, but you're staying in an Airbnb, you can pack lighter and stay for 10 days because you can wash your clothes. So things like that. Then when you get to the checkpoint where you have to go through TSA, get global entry. You'll have global entry and TSA pre-check. You go through a separate line. You get through there a lot faster. getting certain credit cards will allow you to have lounge access. So you have lounge access. Now when you get to the terminal, you don't have to sit with all the people that are crying and not crying, but coughing and sneezing and kids running around and bumping into you and all that. You can go into one of the lounges. You can get, in some cases, you can get a meal. In some cases, you can get snacks. You can get free Wi-Fi. You can get all the water and beverages and all that stuff that you need for free. You don't have to go down to the little gift shop in the airport and pay $6 for a bottle of water. You can get those. You can get that water for free. So those different experiences, and then getting a travel card that's an airline card will give you priority boarding. So even if you're not flying economy, you still have priority boarding. You can still get on before a lot of other people, so you don't have to be one of the last. Like get on the plane when everyone is. You don't have any storage space above you, and so I started working on those things, trying to improve my experience, the actual travel experience. And I think I've gotten to a point now where it's manageable. Like I'm fine with it. Like I don't have like I don't get frustrated when I get to the airport on traveling. Now I'm a little more relaxed, and so that's what I wanted to work on. And then the money too. Like being able to afford to travel can be really frustrating. And now with travel credit cards, you're able to afford. Like I don't even have to think about. I don't have to think about money when I travel. Very rarely, like this last trip, there was never a time, and it was kind of a last minute thing that I put together, but there was never a time where I thought, oh, you know what? I have to save money, or I don't have enough money to go on this trip. I didn't even think about it. My airfare for all my flights, $290. My hotel stay in Carnaval, which is a little out of the ordinary, but that was like $400. Usually I don't pay that much, but it was Carnaval, so you're going to pay a little bit more. My Airbnb in Medellin for 5 days, it was $195 for that whole time. So realistically, I didn't really have to think, oh, you know what? I can't afford this. This is just too much money. And I understand we all have different, we all have different bank account or whatever, limits or whatever you want to say. But I'm just saying in my situation, in a lot of cases, I don't have to think about, oh, this is going to cost too much. I can't travel because it's going to cost too much. Or I'm going to have to tighten my belt because this trip is really going to put me back or set me back. I very rarely have to think about that now. And that's only because points. If it wasn't for points, then I'd be spending a lot of money. That airfare, just for example, that airfare, if I would have booked last minute like I did, it was $1,300 to fly to Barranquilla, and that was economy. And that's ridiculous because usually it's not. Usually it's around $500-600. But for Carnaval, it was double. Okay, Champ. Let's see. U.S. Virgin Islands has a very small airport too. I had a great vacation there a few weeks ago. Definitely recommend it. Yeah, I have to get back to the Virgin Islands. I haven't been there in a long time. I've only been there once, and that was like when I was 15 years old. So that's long. Let's see. I just added you on IG. Okay, Nika, cool. Nika, you have a channel too, right? I think you have a YouTube channel. I think you started another one. I didn't get that name. So post it again if you still have that going, because I want to follow you on that. And I'm sure you're going to have some Cartagena videos. Let's see. Okay, cool. All right, let's see here. Here in Brooklyn, listening to your information. It's good. Okay, Malik, how you doing, buddy? Let's see what I won't make. You fight Chap. If you travel 4 times a year for 10 years and spend 30 minutes waiting in line checking the bags, you have wasted a whole work 40 hours. All right, yeah, I guess you're right, David. But I don't spend 30 minutes in line. Generally, usually I can get in there, get in and out. It was funny. I wish I could film going through customs, but they don't allow you to film going through customs. But it was a funny experience when I was coming back from Colombia. Uh, I went to, and for whatever reason, they're changing things at the Bradley terminal at LAX, but we walked a long way to get from the airplane to customs, and I mean, it was a long way. And now I'm glad I'm in the U.S. Like I understand all the signs, and you know, like if you're a foreigner coming in, you probably would get lost because there weren't that many signs, and it was a long walk. And so we walk through this whole gauntlet and get to customs. And as soon as you come in through customs, you see this line, and this line is huge. It's like a line to get on one of the rides at Disneyland or something. It was just that many people just packed in, and it's kind of, and you hear people, like I'm walking through, and I hear people like you know, like sighing and stuff because they look at this line. It's crazy. And so I walk through, and I know, hey, I got global entry, so I go somewhere else, right? So I'm walking, and they're directing the people, okay, and Americans on one side, or people with U.S. passports on one side, and then people with foreign passports on the other side. So they're directing people, and there's this little old lady, and she's standing there, and she's the one that's doing all the directing. And I'm walking, and I see the global entry is behind her, and so I say global entry, and she's like, "Oh, right this way, sir." She does one of those things. I'm like, "Yes, I love this." And so I walk past her, and there's 30 kiosks, and there's nobody there. There's nobody at any of these kiosks. So I went there, picked the first kiosk, did my little thing. It takes like 2 minutes, then walked past, and I didn't know where to go because, like, literally there's no one there for direction. So like I'm with all these kiosks, and so I do my little thing. I get the little ticket, and then I don't know where to go, and so I had to turn back to her and say, "Which way do I go?" And she's like, "Oh, just go that way." So I walked that way, and I swear to you, I walked to the customs agent, and he's sitting behind the desk. And he was like, and I have my ticket with my picture, and the ticket has your picture on it. And so I'm walking, I'm going to hand him the ticket. And he was like, "No, sir, go ahead." And he just pointed. So he pointed me, so I walked down. And the only bad thing is I got there so early that my bags hadn't got there yet. So I'm just sitting there waiting for my bags. I had to wait like 10 minutes for my bags. So everyone that was, not everyone, but a lot of people that had to go through customs, they had already caught back up to me because we're waiting for our bags. So I get my bag, and then I go to the last line. Like once you get your bag, you still have to go through another little customs line. And it was a matter of walking to the line. There's a global entry line, and then there's a regular line. Go through the global entry line, and I'm just handing him the ticket, and he doesn't look at the ticket or anything. He just grabs the ticket, "Thank you, sir," and I just walk right through. So global entry, you got to get it. It's worth it. Okay. TEC, I've never been able to figure out why, but why is it so many people are in credit card debt? I don't know. So David's asking why, like, he's never been able to figure out why there's so many people that are in credit card debt. If you use a credit card like a debit card, and you only use what you have in the bank, like you only use the card and you really budget your money and everything, then you shouldn't be in credit card debt. I just think that, and I know that's the way that I was raised, thinking that you get a credit card and you keep that credit card for emergency purposes, and emergencies are going to happen. So when an emergency happens, you don't have the money in the bank, you use your credit card, and then you pay it off over time. That's the way I was taught, and that's the wrong way. The right way is to use that credit card to leverage the money that you have and get something extra, right? So they're basically saying, okay, you can use my credit card, like the bank says, you can use my credit card, or I'm sorry, the bank will entice you by saying, okay, we're going to give you all these extra little perks if you use our card. And you do that. You get those little perks, you use the card, and then you pay it all off, and you don't let them get anything else from you. So that's the way that I use them now. But that's not the way I was taught. And plus, when I was in college, when you're in college, you don't know any better, and you have all these credit card companies. I remember I went to college in Las Vegas. I went to UNLV, and we used to get free tickets to go to the basketball games. And basketball games, that's like the place to go, right? And this is right after UNLV had won the national championship, and so basketball was really big in Las Vegas. And so we'd go to the games, and we would when you go to the game, you have all these like you walk in, and it was almost like a convention, like the convention where they have all conventions where they have all the little booths and everything set up. They'd have all these little credit card booths set up, and they were giving away free UNLV T-shirts. So of course I'm going to get a credit card, right? Because they're going to give me a free T-shirt. And I'm poor. I'm like in college students. I didn't have a lot of money. So yeah, I got a couple of T-shirts, got a couple of credit cards. And so they were just giving these credit cards away because they knew, like, college students, they're going to use them to buy books and buy this and buy that. So that was kind of the thing. And I didn't know any better at the time. So the good thing is the cards, I got like maybe 3 or 4 cards total. But I still have those cards, and that actually established my credit way back when. So that was the good thing. I was able to establish my credit. But yeah, they prey on people, like college students, because we do spend a lot of money. Like, we don't have a lot of money, but if we get a credit card and say, hey, I can get this here, I can get that there, and then with school, you might get financial aid, you might get some assistance, but then you still need to pay for other things, and you might have books and stuff to pay for, and those books are just, that's one thing I don't miss, paying for those books. It was ridiculous. You pay all this money for these books, and then you don't use, you don't even read the whole book. Like, you're only using parts of the book, and then you sell it back, and they only give you less than half for it. Yeah, that was ridiculous. All right. Weekend Roamers is my channel. Okay, I will check that out, Nika. Definitely, I will subscribe. Let's see. A lot of videos coming soon. Okay, put them out there. Let us see them. Let's see, David. Damn, I just checked your IG, and you're a really good photographer. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. He just said he just checked my. I started putting out more pictures of Carnaval. I'm gonna keep putting them out on IG. I'm late to the whole Instagram thing. I put a lot of stuff out on Facebook for the longest, and now it's kind of Instagram. I do like Instagram. The only thing that really I still don't like about Instagram. I don't like the square pictures. It's all about composition for me, and I like the traditional composition. So it's hard to get that traditional composition in that square. So I know you can shrink it so it's actually the right composition. Some pictures I do that just because, like, composition is a lot. When you're a photographer and you get into it, composition it can really tell a story. So when you have this square, it's just a little harder to compose your shots, and you're cropping out a lot, and I don't know, I'm getting too technical, but yeah, that's the only thing that really kept me from Instagram. But I'm now jumping in there. I do like the whole messenger thing, how you can message people back and forth like that. I do like that. It's a little less I don't like Facebook's messenger thing. Yeah, I just don't like that setup. Okay, yes, your photos are really good. Okay, thank you, Nick. I appreciate that. And I'll be putting more photos out. And for those of you guys that don't know, like, I've been, like, I have a full-time job, but I've been doing part-time photography for 10 years now. And I will shoot weddings and events. And then I also do a lot of travel photography as well. And that's kind of what brought me into the whole travel credit cards and everything. I wanted to travel more and do some, I love going to different countries and cities and taking pictures of their landscape and bringing them back and entering them in competitions and stuff like that in the U.S. So I do a lot of that already. I've been a photographer for about 10 years now. Okay. Sonika, I got mobile passport. Okay, mobile passport's good too. I was trying to find that line. And like I said, I wanted to record in that area, but you can't. What I wanted to see, because I never found that mobile passport line. So you have mobile passport now, where you can have your passport information on your phone. You can fill out all the, like, the declaration card when you come into the country. You can fill out that declaration card on your phone, and then put your passport number and all that stuff in there, and then you can use that when you go through customs, U.S. Customs. So I was trying to find that line, but I couldn't find the line when I was walking through because I was really kind of focused on, okay, global entry, let me get there. So I wasn't really looking for that line. I just wanted to see how many people were in that line. But like I said, global entry, there was no one in that line. But if you don't have global entry, then yes, I would definitely do the mobile passport. And I think, Nika, you said you had Clear. I don't know if you still have it, but you had Clear at one time. And Clear is another. And is Clear for out of the country though? I don't know. I think Clear is maybe just for the U.S. Let's see. Okay, David, I just recently dropped out of a big school like UNLV, but I was never once offered a credit card in general, let alone for a T-shirt. Yeah, they were doing it. So yeah, they were offering them. I remember I got a couple of cheap. They're like cheap UNLV T-shirts, but still they were giving them away. Yeah. All right. Okay, guys. I am going to take off. Like I said, tomorrow we'll be back on, and we will do another live stream, and then we're going to talk about Avianca compared to Copa, and just my experience. And they're both great airlines. So if you are flying to South America or Central America, you can look up both those, and you'll probably be pretty happy with the service and everything. All right. Thank you guys for stopping by. If you like this video, please give me a like. Even if you don't like it, give me a like anyway. For the next person. Maybe they might like it. And then if you're new here, please subscribe. And we'll be back on tomorrow, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that's all. I'll talk to you guys later. And David, take care. Everybody else, take care. Nika, take care. And Nika, I'm going to check your channel out right now. All right.